Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Professor Rob Fleming here with a series of short lectures on change management for sustainability. We're going to jump right into the introduction. Last week we talked a lot about the impacts of human activities upon the natural world, not just from a moral ethical standpoint, but from the standpoint of understanding that the earth provides our ecosystem services that will require to have a certain quality of life today and certainly to guarantee a quality of life for those in the future. So when we think about how we conduct our actions and what we're doing to the planet, there's a level of concern, and rightly so, that we are compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs, hence the term sustainability. And just take this moment to say I'm always surprised when people say, well, we don't know what sustainability means, so we can't do anything. I find that to be an amazingly pathetic cop-out in terms of where we are in the planet today and the kinds of things that we need to be doing. The reason that I'm optimistic is because we can begin to look over the long arc of time, and really not that long relative to the history of the planet. Remember, we're just a couple seconds right towards the stroke of midnight in terms of our presence on the planet. And we can look back and have nostalgic thoughts about our interdependent relationships with the natural world back in the hunter-gatherers, but there was certainly a time where we began to not only become aware of our separation, but to cultivate that separation as a means to increase profit, comfort, and convenience. And I suppose there's nothing really evil about that. And why I'm optimistic is that as we go towards the age of integration, or the integral age, we begin to think about the idea that we're going to reconnect with nature and form a symbiotic relationship and co-evolve with nature. It's pretty powerful. And that's good timing, because we're actually ending the Holocene, at least according to the scientists, and moving into the first climate that's ever been generated by humans. And and a percentage of that change could certainly be attributed to being in the interglacial and natural forces. And so the combination of the two creates a new time for us to begin to think about how we interact with the planet. We talked a lot about motivations for why we do what we do, and how natural it is for us to want to have materialism, to want to be greedy, but also how natural it is for us to have empathy and altruism. And we're going to be using the term common good in this lecture because our hero Richard Barrett this week uses that term, and he's really referring back to this idea of the second invisible hand of empathy and altruism. But we know then we have to acknowledge that the drive for profit and entrepreneurship is going to be key to solving the world's problems in a very quick and efficient manner. Now, if you will go all the way back to week 3, we spent a lot of time looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs and the different layers of thought and interaction that we need to use to be successful. And I think sustainable design has to begin here, looking at the basics of human existence. And if we design buildings, landscapes, and interiors that compromise the ability of future designers to meet basic needs, we're in a situation of unsustainability. And I think I've made the case in this course that we are in a condition of unsustainability right now, and certainly many people in the world still living without those basic needs of safety and security. What I want to focus on here is the problem of prestige. And in the design community, we're blocked from moving towards sustainability because we're stuck on prestige. In other words, we want to be recognized for our individual efforts as heroes in the design process, when in fact we should be looking up here is how can we as designers become servants to society, not just today, but future societies that we haven't yet seen. And so with that little short introduction, that should lead us into how we're going to shift from the focus on the individual to the focus on the group, and how can the group begin to meet its needs in order to pursue a sustainable future.